All right, 1 2 1 2, the place to be. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing out there? I am Frank Red. And this is another edition of the In the Dungeon Show. Apologize for being a minute or two late. Sometimes you have technical difficulties that you gotta deal with. I not only host the show, but I produce it as well. And the good part of that is I get the chance to learn how to fix things and how to work myself out of problems, as opposed to sit back and let a really talented producer do that for me like I have in the past. But we worked that out and we're here, and I want to thank you off the top for joining me, hopefully in conversation and just kind of talking about some things that are interesting to us in the world of sports and entertainment. And it's kind of a slow weekend. A lot of big things, obviously, with the NBA weekend descending on the Bay Area in Northern California. We'll get into that, and I'll talk about how I think the Bay Area did. Generally speaking, I think they did a fantastic job. Now, they also have, I guess, like the nations, it's in the hockey tournament, USA against the world. And that's a big story. I guess the games have been riveting. USA is playing pretty well. I'm not really following it that closely. And Russia's not in it. And I'm not saying they should be in it. But obviously, when I was a young kid, 1980, going back to Mike Ruzioni and Al Michaels becoming a star of the broadcasting world, that was it. United States beating the national Russian team was as big as it gets. And those are my memories of hockey, particularly growing up on Long Island and having the New York Islanders just wreck the NHL for all those years. They were fantastic when I was a kid, when I was a little kid. So, hockey fans out there, if you're enjoying what's going on up in Canada with USA Hockey and all of the teams, and you want to comment about it, we have an open forum for you to do so. One of the things I don't like is, at some point, I listen to a lot of sports talk radio. I don't sleep a lot. So I'm up late at night listening to various shows. And at some point, an overnight host will get bored and they'll go to the old tried and true of, I have to compare how great hockey is compared to the NBA. And that bothers me. I'm like, you know what? It's not necessary. You really don't need to do that. If you want to promote hockey, then promote hockey. Fine. But you don't have to kill the NBA. The NBA is as successful as any business has been in a really long time. So, not saying it's perfect, it's not perfect. But to try to compare it to hockey, stop it. Get out of here. With regards to NBA weekend, my number one attraction was the dunk contest. Mac McClung, to me, he's the best dunk contest performer that I've ever seen. Better than Jordan, better than Dominique, better than David Thompson. He's better than everybody. Now, you can say, Red, he uses a lot of props. Yeah, he does. But he is creative as hell. I did a little research on him, and he's had 3 two-way contracts, right? Never a standard NBA contract. And I'm like, okay, he's 6'2". He doesn't really have a position, but he's a good basketball player. Why can't he sit on somebody's bench and actually get in the game? And I thought about it. I said, I know why. Because NBA teams don't want to risk having another Linsanity moment. That's the only logical explanation because he's a good basketball player. But obviously, based on who he is, based on his unique talent, there's a sector of most fan bases that would gravitate towards him and blow him up and make him a star. And teams don't want to piss off their stars. Now you can tell me, Red, you're full of crap. And that's okay. And I'm not saying that that is true. But it's logical. There's no reason why this guy's not in the NBA on a roster. I feel sorry for the kid. I mean, we see players fail all the time. We've never seen him fail before our eyes. We've seen people make a decision and say, well, he's not quite what we're looking for. He's maybe not good enough. But we haven't seen him get a 15-game run where somebody put him out there and just see what he could do. That's disappointing to me. He single-handedly saved the dunk contest. Those ratings, I'm sure, were off the charts. And let's give it up to the kid, Castle, the rookie at San Antonio. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see him coming as a number 4 pick. He's slated to be Rookie of the Year, playing really good basketball, as mature as any rookie that we've seen in a long time. And homeboy has some creative dunks. Any other year, minus Matt McClung, Castle would have won it. So, just because it's Northern California, it's the Bay, it was all good this weekend. Somebody that you might not know, who is, I think he is the Quincy Jones of his generation. I'm not comparing him to Quincy Jones, but Raphael Sadiq, member of Tony Tony, been on his own for a long period of time, an avid basketball fan. I met Raphael multiple times. As a musician, can't be touched in this era. Cannot be touched. And he did a phenomenal job with the, like the background music leading up, the introduction of the players. The Bay Area did its thing. And you want to talk about that, we can if you want. And if you don't know Raphael Sadiq, you better ask somebody. Stephen Curry wins the MVP. I'm not quite sure of the significance of the MVP. I don't think they should have gave one, to be quite honest. I think hoisting, the trophy of the OGs will suffice. Shaq was the general manager. They beat the European stars, 41-25. Stephen was awesome, but MVP, I guess the only reason they gave it MVP, the Kobe Bryant trophy, is because they have a sponsor. Well, I get it. Now, thinking about it, I understand. But it was kind of awkward giving anybody the MVP for this particular format. I like the format. Am I head over heels over it? It has some Elam ending in it. I'm glad the announcers wasn't falling over themselves talking about the Elam ending. Oh, yeah, the Elam ending. It's not necessary. But having a target score, giving some young boys an opportunity to shine based off the rookie game, I thought was kind of cool. So I have to give Adam Silver, Stephen Curry, and whomever else was involved a lot of credit for making NBA AllStar Weekend a hit. It was definitely a hit. And now we can move on to the last third of the NBA season. And thankfully, the Warriors have players who like to talk. And 4-time champion TNT personality when he's not playing for the Warriors. And in the NBA, Draymond Green had a lot to say. And Draymond Green, first of all, he said the NBA game was boring and it wasn't what he wished it would be in so many ways. I'm paraphrasing. But I'm not paraphrasing about this. Draymond said that he thinks the Warriors are going to win the championship. And I need more intel. To say that it's a ridiculous statement, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that because playoff basketball is a lot different than regular season basketball. Now, it's imperative that the Warriors get at least a 7th seed. You know, where you get 2 home games, you win 1 and you're in. Preferably, they want the 6. But if they get 7, I think they're still in decent position. They're one of the best teams in the NBA in the half court. And they've been that way for a decade. And I think what has happened is we've gotten more from Jimmy Butler than we thought that we would. We knew that we would get somebody who could score and rebound and be a really good Robin for Stephen. But we got more than that. We got an intelligent player who fits perfectly into what the Warriors like to do defensively and offensively. Very efficient with the basketball, not a high turnover guy. So while the Warriors are a long shot, they're small. There might be something in the buyout market that they can do. They're an interesting team. And I'm going to say this. This coming Friday's game in Sacramento will give us a lot of information with regards to how we look forward for the Warriors. You can make the same statement about the Kings as well. The Kings are playing okay since they traded De'Aaron Fox. I wasn't real high on De'Aaron Fox anyway. Not as a preeminent point guard. I think he's a preeminent talent. But as a point guard, I would say he's probably somewhere between 7 and 10, 7 and 11. He's not a top 5 point guard, which is what I think you have to have if you're going to go deep in the playoffs. You want to see a top 5 point guard? Look at Kyrie Irving. That guy. You know, the guy who wasn't going to work in Sacramento, who wasn't going to work in Dallas, who wasn't going to work in Brooklyn. All of a sudden, he's got himself together. He's matured like most of us do. And he has the keys to the Cadillac now. You know, with Luka being traded to the Lakers, it's Kyrie's team. It's unfortunate that Anthony Davis got hurt right away. Who knew that would happen? I'm being facetious, obviously. But I like where Dallas is if they can get healthy. I do. South Carolina, my favorite women's college team, got thrashed by the UConn Huskers today, 87-58, and it wasn't even close. Paige Beckers and Fudd, her name is Fudd, just went off. Fudd had like 28 points, 6 of 10, I believe 7 for 10 from 3. So South Carolina is obviously still really good, but they've had some injuries this year, and teams are catching up. Women's college basketball is a must-watch to me if you like basketball. No, there's not the hysteria that we had last year with Caitlin Clark, who deserved every bit of it. But the game is actually better. They're actually better teams this year. They're more quality teams than they were last year. And I think South Carolina, watching them multiple times this year, they're just one of, say, 5 or 6 really good teams. They're not the preeminent team in women's college basketball, which should make the women's tournament really interesting this year. My man Tangy says, bold words. I assume he's talking about Draymond. Yeah, but it spices things up, right? RC Rules, how you doing, brother? What's up, Frank? How you doing, man? How's the weather in Thailand right now? Should be pretty nice, actually, right? Not monsoon season. Should be pretty cool. The NFL used to have an off season. They don't have an off season anymore. They don't. I mean, literally, the Monday after the Super Bowl, the yappers start yapping about the next season, about the draft, about what the winning Super Bowl team needs to be good the following year. And the NFL is gigantic. We all know this. And a couple of teams that I follow have some interesting decisions to make. Obviously, the 49ers, I think people who watch football and know their personnel and know their coaches think that last year was more of an aberration than a reality, that this team is going to muddle in mediocrity. I don't think so. I think that they will be in the playoffs again this year, just based off how they are constructed. I think they've already made some really good changes with their coaching staff, and that should help them. But from a personnel perspective, they have some tough decisions to make. Funga, I don't know if he's coming back. Greenlaw, I think you got to have Greenlaw back if he's healthy. And the Brock Purdy negotiation needs to happen and end pretty quickly. I don't want to see this thing drag on forever. I don't. He's going to get paid. He should get paid. But how much? How much should he get paid? There are people in the market who have said that Brock Purdy was better than Jalen Hurts. I never believed that. Never. I never believed that Brock Purdy was better than Jalen Hurts. I think he's on Jalen Hurts' level. I think he's asked to do different things than Jalen is asked to do by Philly. And for the 49ers offense, I think he's great. But, we had folks looking at him, oh, he's a top 5 quarterback. And I never bought into that. I never did. Icy Rule says, hey, Frank, warming up here. Air pollution is bad nowadays. All-Star game. Prefer world versus USA format. We're getting there. The world is obviously catching up, but I don't know if you can have the numbers right though. I think that there's still an imbalance. I don't know how they would do that. Would you have World Team A, World Team B, and kind of split that up? Or would you go to a more traditional game where you would have the world versus the United States players? We're getting there. We're definitely getting there. There's a lot of political stuff that I don't want to get into without all the facts, but NBA Africa is going to be a thing. In probably 10 years, it's going to be a thing, man. It really is. Probably sooner than that. Those countries are investing a lot of money into facilities, infrastructure. Obviously, the players are developing, and it's becoming big business, obviously. And a lot of folks are involved in it over here in the United States. I think Obama's involved in it. And, there's been a lot of actions with regards to various countries or particular countries being bad actors. And some people don't want them to be a part of NBA Africa, because their conduct, in their view, isn't great. So it's going to be interesting because it's growing every day. A lot of those players that you see, like the Jonathan Kumingas of the world, the Monarchs, the 7'2" center out of Duke, a lot of those cats going to be staying at home. They're going to stay in Africa and play and build up that league. What's up, Keys? Keys says, what's up, Frank? Why did Post take Jackson Davis minutes? Steve Kerr. And guess what? We can't say that Steve Kerr's wrong. I mean, based on the success that they've had, based on how Steve Kerr likes to play offense, he likes Post in there. I'm okay with Post playing. I'm not okay with Jackson Davis being buried. It's the Moses Moody story all over again, mixed in with a little Jonathan Kuminga. Why do players have to get buried? Now, I've been talking for 2 months about Trayce Jackson Davis's lack of production, his inability to take advantage of a tremendous opportunity that he had before him, and he's paying for it now. Because to me, he should be playing 25 minutes a game. Notwithstanding his limitations offensively from the perimeter. He's not a great shooter. He's not a great free throw shooter. But with that body and that athleticism, what the Warriors have, he should be playing, to me. Quentin Post is what he is. I think Quentin Post, from a mental perspective, wants to be aggressive. But he's weak, and he has narrow shoulders, and teams go at him defensively. Now, he is a premium outside shooter. And for teams that know how to scout, they've been able to take Post away in some games. But for teams that are lazy, don't respect him, and don't do a great job scouting, this kid is eating them up. Good for him. He already has a standard NBA contract. So, props to Quentin Post. He's taking advantage of the opportunities that Trayce Jackson Davis didn't do, in my opinion. He says, Frank, do you think we will have room for a Kuminga extension next year, or will he be a sign and trade? I think everything's on the table. There's been a lot of comments now about how the owner of the Warriors has come out and said that they love Kuminga. And he's an interesting player, very, very talented guy. You're not going to just simply, go out into the market and find somebody who can do what he can do at his age. But there comes a time when, your production has to speak for you and not just your physical ability. So I think there's a trade out there for Kuminga to be made. And I also think that there's tremendous value in keeping him within the fold, particularly when you got another player like a Jimmy Butler, who is, kind of a diamond that you found in the ground. You didn't draft Jimmy Butler. You gave up Andrew Wiggins, but you like the return on the investment for Jimmy Butler. The only thing I don't like about what happened with that trade is the Warriors gave up a first-round draft pick. I didn't think they needed to do that. I did not. Jimmy Butler was going to have to go somewhere. He wasn't going back to Miami. And to think that Mike Dunleavy Jr. got muscled into giving up a first-round pick in this year's draft, as talented as this year's draft is, to me, might come back to bite the Warriors in the butt. Now, if they win a championship, all bets are off. Who gives a you-know-what? But I think that they're a long way off from that point right now. But they're definitely better. Steve-O Supremo. I love that name because it makes me think of DJ Premier of Gangstar, hip-hop fame. I don't know if you're into hip-hop, but DJ Premier is obviously one of the great hip-hop producers of all time. Steve-O Supremo, I love it. When did the All-Star game only go to 40 points? This year. That was an arbitrary number that somebody came up with that they went with. I don't mind 40 points. I guess Dame Lillard said that to make it better, they might extend it to 50, which sounds reasonable to me. But I thought as a first run, 40 points was not bad. I thought it was actually, I thought it worked out pretty well. But beyond the game, I think where the NBA was able to shine this year is they got the background stuff right. They had all the right people in the building. They got the music right, man. You know, I think that starts with Raphael Sadiq, incorporating all of the Bay Area artists over the past 25 years. In Vogue, obviously E40, Metallica, Santana. They had everybody. I mean, Green Day, and that's Raphael Sadiq and Tony. All those cats. They're like the West Coast Roots. I mean, they're so versatile, so talented. They got that right. They got the music right, and I think that was a great foundation for what took place on the court. If we're being honest, we didn't see anything supernatural basketball-wise in the game, but it was fun to see, you know, the stars out there playing together. A lot of these guys are like our Dr. J's and Larry Birds. I mean, the Stephen Currys, the Kevin Durant's. I was happy that LeBron didn't play. It didn't bother me at all. It didn't bother me at all that LeBron didn't play. You know, I mean, he has a way of kind of like taking all the air out the room in ways that Stephen doesn't do that. So if LeBron had to play, it would have been fine. But when he had, you know, some his perspective, and he didn't play, the fact that he was there was great. But it didn't bother me that LeBron James didn't play. It actually created more space for other people, I think. Keith said, did you enjoy Super Bowl halftime show? I hear a lot of people hating. You won't hear any hate from me. Did I think it was the best halftime show I've ever seen? No, I didn't. Did I think it was solid? Yes. Did I think it did what it was supposed to do? Yes. But I mean, as a rapper myself, I don't like rappers going at each other like that. I don't really like it. So I was okay with like one song, maybe two songs between he and Drake. But this whole big ordeal where people who are not even really rap fans were like taking sides. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I come from an era where, you know, LL Cool J would come out with Jack the Ripper, you know, at his foes. And touch him up real quick and give them an opportunity to come back at him. But this long back and forth stuff, I don't like it. And I'm gonna tell you why I don't like it. Because hip hop is so business oriented now that you really do have writing teams. You got people feeding each other information, and it gets a little convoluted. And as non-hip hop as Drake suing a record label for alleged manipulation of a song. As whack as that sounds, it's not like out of the realm of possibility, even though that he and Kendrick are theoretically on the same label. So it's just too much. I like the halftime show. Wasn't the best halftime show I've seen in my life. I thought it was good. Andrew the GOAT. What's up, brother? He says Alabama got embarrassed by Auburn Tigers in front of their own students and fans at home on Saturday. Yeah, here's some irony though. I can't think of his name right now, but the head coach of Auburn, help me out, you guys. His teams don't perform really well in the tournament. You realize that? They don't. Never did much at Tennessee. And he's had some really good teams at Auburn over the past 5 years, and they haven't done much in the tournament either. So I don't necessarily get real hyped up by what Auburn is doing in the regular season. I don't. But yeah, they beat Alabama down. And I mean, just the fact that Alabama is now relevant in basketball, it's kind of a win to me. I mean, the SEC in general is the best league in college basketball. And that's interesting because historically, obviously, they've been the best league in college football. They weren't the best league in college football this year. They wasn't. The Big Ten was the best league, in my opinion. So it's going to be interesting to see if things can happen. One thing that I think should happen is Memphis should be in the Big East. I mean, they basically play in a mid-major league. What's that, AAC? I mean, give me a break. Get to a real league, you know? Because that's a big-time basketball program, Memphis. It really is. I lived in Memphis for a little while, for about 6 months. Obviously been following college basketball for a long time. That is a big-time market. Memphis is actually a bigger college basketball market than it is an NBA market. It is. Steve-O said, I thought the halftime show was not that good until I rewatched it a few times. After watching it a few times, Steve-O, what'd you like about it? What I liked about it was the fact that Kendrick was true to who he is. He brought the hood to the Super Bowl. You know, all of those cats look like his friends, look like people that, you know, he came up with, that he knew. Now, one of the things that I wasn't in love with was, you know, he was kind of promoting his new stuff. I have no problem with that. He's trying to sell units. He's trying to build up his world tour that allegedly he and SZA are planning to go on. But I like his old stuff. I mean, Kendrick Lamar has hits. He has some big hits. And some of those didn't see the light of day. And to me, that was disappointing. Because, you know, that's when I really became a fan and an admirer of his with these classic songs that he's written. He had 5 Grammys off of this album, which was essentially a battle album put together for Drake. This wasn't one of his. It was good. It was solid. But the song on the album that I like the most is Gloria, with he and SZA. I never heard that record. So this kind of shows you about the politics of music. You know, it's totally different now than it used to be. But it'll be interesting to see who is positioned to be the artist for halftime next year. I wanted to mention Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was unceremoniously shown the door by the New York Jets, which is interesting because the Jets are such a crap franchise. And even they were like, yeah, we're terrible. We haven't done anything since the 60s, but we're going to wave our finger at Aaron Rodgers and show him the door because we can do better. Really? Really? You can do better? Show me you can do better. So, but it creates a space for Aaron Rodgers to make some decisions. As bad as people want to make his season out to be in terms of wins and losses, he showed some signs. He looked like a top 15 quarterback to me. You know, he had his moments where he was decent. Like most quarterbacks, when they have a lot of heat on him, he wasn't as good. But it'd be interesting to see if he decides to play. But one thing that we know about Aaron Rodgers, he needs to play for a good franchise. He needs to play for a team that is good, you know, and there are not a lot of good teams out there. So he has to be really strategic, and teams who might be interested in him have to be really strategic. It wouldn't bother me to see him in Pittsburgh for a year. He's kind of a erudite. So I don't know how that would work with he and Mike Tomlin. Maybe quite well. I mean, Arthur Smith kind of comes off like a steak and potatoes type of guy. Doesn't seem like a seamless fit for Aaron Rodgers to me. But who knows? It's football. Who knows? Keith says, I heard Terry, put my glasses on so I can do you justice, brother. I heard Terry Rozier is under investigation for sports gambling, and another player from Toronto got suspended for life. Was this inevitable with legalized sports gambling? Going on the premise that we don't know if Terry Rozier did anything wrong. It's all been alleged. But I think that you're right. Yeah. I think be it Terry Rozier or Michael Porter Jr.'s brother, this stuff was going to happen. Know why? Because people have shaky morals. I mean, you would think that everybody would be a pretty good decision maker. And some of the most intelligent, some of the most well-positioned people in the world make horrible decisions. So, yeah, I mean, they know this. You know, it's a question of how bad will it be? You know, because people have shown throughout history that managing gambling is not easy to do. I don't gamble at all, so it really doesn't affect me, and I'm very disciplined. So the likelihood of somebody trying to get me to do something that I don't want to do is highly unlikely. But am I surprised that in the future, a basketball player, a football player, or somebody involved in sports will make a bad decision with regards to gambling? Nah. You know, I hope it's not true for Terry Rozier. But he's had a terrible year. I mean, he hasn't been himself. He hasn't. Be it the alleged allegations or whatever the case, he has not had a good year. He hasn't. And Porter Jr.'s brother, banned for life? I mean, come on, man. Being a part of the NBA is like hitting the lotto. All you got to do is just be a good citizen. If you're a good citizen and a halfway decent player, you set for life. You really are set for life. Think about all the people we saw. I don't know if you noticed. You might not notice some of these folks, but I saw so many former players in the Bay Area at the game, in the background, promoting products, probably doing something to get a check. Gambling has been legalized in Nevada since 1959. Yeah. I didn't know the date, but I know legalized gambling has been around for a long time. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the temptation, the accessibility to gamble has been greatly increased over the past 5 to 10 years. And you know, players have a lot more accessibility now than they've ever had in the past. That's true. And I think because gambling, to a certain degree, has been normalized, it's more popular. I think it's more popular. And that boogeyman, that taboo effect that it had attached to it with regards to the athletes, I don't know if it's as strong as it used to be in the past. When the irony is, it should be even stronger because you have so much more to lose. Keith says, I hope the Rozier rumors are false as well. Yeah, he's had a good, solid career, made some good money, but am I shocked that a player has been accused of gambling, illegal gambling? No, I'm not. I'm not shocked by it. From his point of view, and from his perspective, I just hope it's not true. I'm certainly not ready to accuse him of doing anything or anybody else. That's a bad look. It's a terrible look. I want to talk a little bit about the upcoming draft. Ron Harper Jr.'s son, the point guard at Rutgers, and his teammate Ace Bailey, 6'10" player who some people compare to Kevin Durant. Both really, really talented players. If they come out of this year's draft, it's probably going to be a shoo-in that they will. You know, they'll be top 7, top 10 picks. To me, the surefire number one is Cooper Flag. Because I'm dogged in my thinking that I like to see young players win. I like to see players competing. As young as Rutgers is, nobody expected them to be terrible. They're barely 500. They might be sub 500. That's not all on the coach. That's not all on the coach. Chris Webber and Jalen Rose, the Fab Five, those guys went to the Final Four. So I'm very disappointed in what I've seen from Rutgers as a team. And I'm going to say something that's so ridiculous. The Harper kid and Ace Bailey should stay another year in college to develop, to build confidence. Because every year in the NBA, there are going to be some busts. There are going to be some players who are really talented who are going to get off to some slow starts. I'll give you one, a kid who I love, Reed Sheppard. Now, if Reed Sheppard was playing for a different team than Houston and for a different coach in Ime Udoka, who is a stickler for defense and very disciplined, he might be playing somewhere else. But He can't get off the bench. And I thought Reed Shepherd, best case scenario, would be all rookie. Would be one of the guys who might win Rookie of the Year, but he hasn't gotten the time. And some of it is related to who he's playing for. And I have no problem with Ime Udoka not playing it because they're winning. And they built their brand and their foundation on defense. He's not a good defender. So I'm a little concerned about Ace Bailey and the Harper kid. As talented as they are, I'm concerned. Because when you lose consistently in college and you're that talented, you're not dealing with adversity very well. You're not executing. You're not playing hard all the time. You know, you're looking for the sugar. You're looking for the things that you like to do, but the tough stuff, you know, I'm not watching these guys all the time, but I question whether or not collectively they're doing those things. That's how you win. Winning is important. It is very important because at the NBA level, you don't get minutes. You got to earn your minutes. They don't care where you finished in high school. Nobody cares. You got to earn your minutes. Everybody's good. So I'm a little concerned about that. Not saying they won't be great because they probably will be, but I mean, stay in college for another year. Is there anything etched in stone that says you got to come out right now? Spend your time in the G League, farting around? The other thing is the combine is about to start. I don't know if it starts this week, but I know it's coming up. And the NFL has listed Travis Hunter, Heisman Trophy winner, as a DB as opposed to wide receiver. And while I think that's logical, I'm asking the question, can he be a legitimate wide receiver in the NFL? And if so, whomever drafts him, how much are they going to let him play that position? Because he's different. He's special. Deion Sanders played wide receiver some, and Deion was pretty good at wide receiver. But he wasn't a natural wide receiver like Travis Hunter is. Travis Hunter is a natural wide receiver. I mean, he attacks the ball. He's not afraid to play in the air. He has good hands. He runs good routes. And he's a shutdown corner. Kickoff returner. I mean, this dude is special. So, I don't know. I don't know if you guys are thinking about it, but I'm thinking about how that's going to affect his NFL career. I actually think New England's going to get him. For some reason, I think New England's going to get him. I do. Russell Wilson, if I'm a betting person, Pittsburgh Steelers fans are not going to like this, but I think they're going to re-sign Russell Wilson. I do think they are. And I think with a better running back, with a better running game, Pittsburgh could actually be better. A better running back, a better wide receiver. They can be better, maybe win a playoff game. Does that mean they're a Super Bowl team? No, but they got $56 million in cap space. I didn't know that. So it's not like they don't have money. Is Debo a good fit there? They need a reliable pass-catching wide receiver. I don't know if that's Debo, but maybe it is. A lot of folks who do content creation, particularly that cover the 49ers, want to kill Debo. And I'm like, I had a bad year. He's still young. He lost some confidence. He could lose some weight. But there's no reason why Debo can't be good again. I don't think so. I think he'd be fine. Andrew the GOAT says, Cooper Flagg says in an interview that he wants to play another year of college basketball. Yeah. And I once wanted to date Janice Jackson. Okay? That didn't work out well for me. All kidding aside, that's why a guy like Cooper has to be number one, because he sees the big picture. He's all in for basketball. And he might want to play another year of college, but he's not. He's going to be the number one pick. I think he's going to do fantastic because he got that motor, man. That's the one thing that is so hard to figure out. You can't teach motivation. You can't teach want to. You can drag it out of people when it's there, but you can't teach it. Because it's so easy to blame somebody else. It's easy to blame somebody else. Well, I didn't get enough touches. You ever see like big guys? Big guys, 6'9", 6'8", 6'10". Yo, man, I didn't get enough touches. I'm like, you ever heard of a rebound? Go get a rebound. Oh, I didn't get enough touches. What? Are you kidding me? What are you, 5'11"? Go get a rebound. Cooper Flagg goes and gets the ball. That dude's going to sell tickets. A lot of tickets. I just saw OKC got 4 first-round picks in the draft. If they don't win the West, I think KD rumors going back to them should happen, or at least another star. Yeah, you know what? KD either has to do, he has to do a couple of things. Kevin Durant has to be comfortable knowing that at this stage of his career, he might not win another championship. And he has to be comfortable with that. Or he needs to swallow some pride and look at some organizations and say, you know what? I want to chase another ring. If that's what the Warriors, if that's what OKC, because he has, I think he has another 2 really good years, where you can not see the rust falling off. I think he has another 2 good years. I don't think that he is definitively the best player on a really good team anymore. I think he is, he's like one of the best players. But unequivocally, the best player on the team, he gets tired, man. He gets tired. And from OKC's perspective, they're going to get upset. They're not going to make it to the Western Conference Finals. Who do you give up? Do you give up Jalen Williams? Because that's what it's going to take. Do you give up Chet? Because Jalen or Chet would have to be involved in that deal. Most of the time, you keep the bigger player, particularly when you look at Jalen and Kevin Durant. They're not similar players, but they do similar things. If you're the Phoenix Suns, you can get a young all-star in Jalen Williams, I think is his last name, and you can get 3 or 4 first-round picks from OKC, and Kevin Durant willing to sign a 3-year deal with OKC, we got action. We got serious action. If you're Phoenix, you dramatically improve your books. You got a young all-star. You got all these draft picks. OKC with a Kevin Durant, a Chet Holmgren, Hartenstein, SGA. Oh, you ready? or if you're not ready, somebody getting fired. That's a squad right there. So he might stay another year after this at Duke. I don't buy that. I don't think so. I think Cooper's out the door. And if John Shire, the coach, convinced him or allowed him to think that he should stay another year, then that's real bad. Like, he's done. He's dominated. He's been the best player in college. When you're the best player in college at this stage of the game, you need to go. It's not 1985 with Jordan. No. Andrew the GOAT. I don't know what the Warriors are going to do now that they don't have a first-round draft pick for this upcoming draft. It's because they traded it to the Miami Heat. Yeah, Andrew, I said that earlier, and it pisses me off because I don't think they had to do it. I think Mike Dunleavy Jr. got snookered by Pat Riley. There was only two teams that was going to pay Jimmy Butler $50 to $55 million. Phoenix Suns, where he couldn't go because Brad Beal was not going to waive his no trade clause, and the Warriors, because the Warriors had Wiggins, who was a player that Miami was receptive to obtaining. I mean, if the Warriors said, listen, we're going to give you a first-round pick in 2029, 2030, unprotected. Okay. But in this year's draft, I wouldn't have done it. I don't think they needed to do it. Particularly when they said they wasn't going to give up a first-round pick for Vukovic with the Bulls, and they didn't do it. They held their ground. Keith says, Klay Thompson playing much better than beginning of the season, and Kyrie looks unstoppable. If Davis comes back healthy, I believe they're right there with OKC. Yeah, I think they're better than OKC. I do. And again, I'm one of the people who said, for everybody who wants to throw some dirt on Klay Thompson's grave, slow down. He ain't dead yet, figuratively speaking, in basketball. This dude is still a very good player. And beyond his stats, he's a four-time champion. He knows what it feels like to be in those big moments and come through. So think about this. And this couldn't happen because of the money and the math and all that stuff. But imagine if the Warriors had Klay Thompson instead of Buddy Hield. Can you imagine that? Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, and anybody else you want to put out there. Yeah. How about those apples? You like that, right? I know you do. I wanted to talk very briefly about a movie that I saw this weekend. And I'm happy because I had a great time at the movies. And I feel a little salty because I needed to put some more respect on his brother's name. I saw Captain America, right? And I thought, Captain America, I would go and spend a couple of hours, pretty good diversion from what I'm doing now. I'm taking an online class and it's I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. But there's a lot of work that I need to do. And that's okay too. But I thought going to the movies would be a nice diversion. The movie is excellent. Captain America is excellent. The former Captain America, what's his name? Chris Pine? Was that Chris Pine? Anthony Mackie is better. I couldn't visualize Anthony Mackie as a superhero that would be so captivating that everybody would like and everybody would enjoy. He's phenomenal. I highly recommend going to see Captain America. Harrison Ford's in it. It isn't one of these like strictly, CGI love fest. It's actually a story. Anthony Mackie killed it. He really did. And I didn't see that coming. So if you've seen Captain America, I think you know what I'm talking about. I'd love to hear your comments on that. If you haven't seen it and you like to go to the movies, check that one out, man. If you go see Captain America and you don't like it, I feel horrible. But I know that's not going to happen because I'm a pretty good critic when it comes to movies. I watch a lot of movies. But it's really good. Captain America is really good. Anthony Mackie did his thing, and I think he's looking at least another 2 or 3 Captain America movies down the line. So big that brother up. He looks fantastic. He's in great shape, taking care of himself, and what a career that he's had. He's had a phenomenal career, and good for him, man. And Harrison Ford is in the movie, played the president, and good for him, man. That was kind of cool. So, when we do these shows, because of you, not because of me, we can do an hour or so and it feels like 15 minutes. When the subject matter is interesting and we're going back and forth, so much fun, man. I love it. I know I'm good at it. I think I'm pretty good at it, but I wouldn't be as good without you. So thank you. I appreciate you. Frank, how would you describe the game of golf to someone? People seem to love it. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed, Keys. I don't talk about it a lot. Maybe I've talked about it when you heard it. I was a caddy for over 10 years. I started caddying when I was 13 years old at Old Westbury Golf Course on Long Island in New York. And the rules were you were supposed to be 15. But my mother comes into the living room where I used to sleep sometimes on the floor. She said, "Get up. I'm not buying your damn school clothes anymore." And I was like, "Good morning, Mom. How you doing?" But she said, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. She goes, "You're going to get a job." And she had met somebody who was a caddy, and she drove me to the golf course early in the morning. My mother's a real one. And, told the caddy master, "This is my son." And that started my caddying career. And at the age of 13, one of my proudest moments, I saved $800 in cash. She told me, my mother said, "Listen, if you save $80 a week, you can keep the rest and do what you want to do with it. But you got to give me $80 a week." And she put it in this envelope. And I had like $40 a week. I had sneakers, and I'm playing video games. Arcade games back then, buying my friends heroes. It was awesome, but the work was hard. And then I learned a lot about life as a caddy. Now, Frank, how would you describe the game of golf to some people who seem to love it? What's attractive about golf is it's so acute, it's hard to master. So it's a lot like playing basketball, to be quite honest with you. And because to be good at basketball, it's really, really hard because there's a lot of little things that you have to do to have success. You know what I'm saying? Like putting. Putting is hard if you don't know how to focus. And if you can't maintain your ability to focus for a long period of time, you're not going to be a good putter. So you can take classes and structurally be fine, but I think the reason why people love it is because the mastery of the little things that you need to do to become good at it. I think that's the best way to describe it. Everything. I mean, from something as seemingly as routine as a bunker shot, it takes time to be able to take a sand wedge or to take a pitching wedge and control that club and hit the ball in the right spot time after time after time. So I have a great appreciation for good golfers. I really do, because I know how hard the game is. And I got to the point where I could read greens, and I would play on like some of the caddy days or tournaments. Never became really good at golf, simply because I think I was really too poor. I mean, golf is a game that you really need two things. You need time, you need money. You need lessons. Because like I said, there's all of these little things that you have to do to become good at golf. So the reason why people love golf is because you look at Mount Everest, they climb Mount Everest. They get to the top of it and they start to get down that hill, and it makes you unique because it takes time, focus, and concentration to master these little things. Yeah. So it's the mastery of the little things is why people love golf. I think that's the best way I can describe it. He says, your mom raised you right, Frank. Great story. Make money and save money, being responsible adult. Yeah, man. I've had tremendous coaching. My mom was a parent. She was a great coach, great modeler, and I had great basketball coaches and great teammates. And I was already a good kid, but that level of discipline that I think that you have to walk a different journey in life is essential. It really is. And I thank you for your question, because I'm coaching a girls basketball team right now, and we were we were scheduled to play a team yesterday that we were better than, right? But I have one really good player, and she didn't play. I think for a couple of reasons. I mean, her mom was like, she wasn't feeling well, and I think she had a family engagement thing that she needed to go to that, and I was like, I don't want to stress you out. If you think you should not come to the game, then don't come. Her mom came, and ultimately she said she wasn't feeling well. She didn't play. I checked on her. She's fine. If she plays, we beat this team. No question about it. But the rest of my players, the talent level is so low. They're young, and the talent level is so low. They can't do basic things. We're getting better. And they scored 17 points yesterday. It was awesome. I'm so proud of these young ladies, how they worked together to score 17 points. When you're not skilled, to score 17 points against a good team, I can't wait for practice, because I see the courage, I see how they dealt with adversity, and it makes me think of golf. That's what golf is, man. That's what golf is successfully dealing with adversity. That's what it is. It really is. A lot like basketball. It really is. So this has been fun, man. It's really been fun. I thank everybody for contributing to the program. SGA, I'm gonna post one of your comments, only one. I still got a problem with you. I think you know why. Frank, I was at NBA crossover and got some autographs from G League players. Good for you. I don't believe in getting autographs personally. By the time unless somebody is like paying, paying my rent, or, and I don't mean that figurative. Don't anybody do that. But like past the age of like 12, 13, unless you're monetizing and you're one of those folks that you want to get an autograph, or you build a relationship with someone and that kind of, but just some random person who I don't know, I'm an adult, I don't want anybody's autograph, man. I played that level. But if you're happy, good for you, but that's not my thing. I'd rather really treasure those moments that I have when I meet people. Those to me are far more important than someone's signature on something, unless unless you might monetize it. Then I have no problem with that, if that's your game. But just getting autographs is not something that I'm really into. I'd rather have the stories, because hopefully you don't lose those stories. I've been fortunate to meet my idols. I've met most of my idols, and I'm so damn lucky, man. I just feel so lucky to be who I am, because my life has been really authentic. Nothing fake about it. It's really authentic. And that's because my mother made sure that all of her kids had a strong sense of self, right? And that has allowed me, I'm going to speak for myself, to make really good decisions, make mistakes, recover from them, and keep it moving. But one of my idols that I met, and you might have heard the story before, probably not though. I love Tracy Chapman. Love Tracy Chapman. I've been a fan of Tracy Chapman since she came out, right? Brilliant songwriter, voice of an angel. And it just so happens that I have done some public address jobs. And I got hired to do the public address announcing in this playoff game at a high school. And I did not know this, but Tracy Chapman was in attendance. And it was in San Francisco. So after the game, I'm talking to folks and doing stuff. And I see Tracy Chapman walk across me, exiting the gym. And the person I was talking to, I was like, can you please wait for a second? So I go outside, and it's in a nice part of San Francisco, people probably got more money than her walking around. So I said, hey, Tracy, like some fan on Sunset Boulevard or something. And she stops and she turns around. And I said, Tracy, I love your music. And Tracy, she kind of has she ain't so openly glowing nice to everybody. She kind of looks, she's like, and I said, by the way, I'm a rapper and I sampled one of your songs, hoping that she's gonna be like, you did? Tracy Chapman don't like anybody sample her music. So her shoulders dropped and her eyes looked at me like, are you serious? So then she goes, what song did you sample? And 100 times out of 100, I bet you that she thought I was gonna say Fast Car, right? And I said, Open Arms. Her eyes lit up. Her shoulders went up. She started smiling. Why? Because she knew that I was a fan, a real fan. Open Arms is one of those cuts that all her fans love, but it's not like a real popular song. She goes, you're the guy from inside, the announcer. I said, yes. She goes, I love your voice. I said, can you say that again? She goes, I love your voice. You would have thought somebody had put $1 million in my pocket. That's how I felt at that particular moment. And she told me her publishing company in Los Angeles. I don't need to get into all of that, but I wrote them a letter and told them I talked to her. They wrote me back and said, no, you can't sample her music, which was okay. It didn't really matter. But that's a real story. That's a real moment. And I can't even compare that moment to her writing her name on a piece of paper or something, because I don't want to monetize anything. You know what I'm saying? So bringing back to what I said, that's the value of having moments with people, having real human moments. That's what's important to me. So I'm going to leave you with that. All right. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to get out of here. Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you're the individual, don't do things to help other people make their lives better. As far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. My name is Frank Red. I want to thank you for listening to the program. Once again, I haven't done a great job marketing the show. Hit the subscribe button if you have not done so. Hit the like button. It definitely helps to get the program out to a lot of folks. And I'll definitely be back on next Sunday, but maybe I'll pop in during the week if something happens that I think is interesting to you and interesting to me. We can do it. Keith, thank you for the love, brother. I really appreciate you and everybody else. Good night, everybody. Peace.